Wholeness. Welcome to Notes of Nara. My name is Naja Rashida, and today's topic we're going to dive into the inner child, compassion. What do you see when you look into the eyes of another person? And no, I'm not talking about that long, when I moved out west, very hippy dippy new agey type of vibe, okay? Like when I first got there, maybe actually throughout my entire time out there. I met some very interesting human beings, okay? Very interesting beings. And sometimes in these gatherings, they would do this thing like they go in for a hug, and there's a specific way that you hug, right? And then they would do this eye gazing exercise. Now, me being the empath that I am very sensitive to touch. Number one, I am just, even when someone like a colleague is like standing right next to me, I get really just a little tense. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's like a doctor, or like I was very comfortable with my Ashtanga teacher at the time. I trusted him, so, and there was a deep trust with him and his students, with female students. And so he never gave off creepy vibes. He was not a creeper at all. Um, and so with touch, I'm just like, ugh, And nowadays, I mean, they're like, oh, are you neurodivergent? You autistic? No, I don't believe so, no. But I'm just sensitive because I can touch somebody and feel their energy. If it's malintent, or you know I just feel things deeply. So but sometimes eye gazing, it makes me a bit uncomfortable, and I've done that. When I went out there, I was super wide open, like that song, wide open spaces. So anyway, so I show up, and like you pick a partner, and they'll change like every 15 minutes, right? It's like a like long eye gazing. I don't think it was 15 minutes. It was probably like 8 minutes or so. And they just smile, and you're just like, you don't want to look away, awkwardly look away. And I would awkwardly look away, because I'm like, okay, it's uncomfortable. You don't know these people, they don't know you, right? But it's like a technique to help you open, right? But it had me thinking, nowadays I'm way more like reserved, I think, when it comes to that. You don't need to prove how open you are when you go to, when you're in that type of community, by hugging everyone's in. And sometimes the hugs would be so long, and I'm just like, okay, like this is slightly uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? Um, but it had me thinking, what do you see in other people when you look at them in their eyes? When you hear their voice when they're speaking? Um, in their gaze when they're talking to you? And, as an empath, yes, I do believe in the transference. Oh my God. I believe in thought forms. Okay. You can call it telepathy, intuition, psychic, I don't, whatever. Okay. But thought forms are things that we cannot see, but they definitely possess a lot of people, and all of us, me, you, everybody. Call it your inner voices, inner thoughts, whatever. But it's out to me, it's like a radio station. Like you just pick up energy like that. Okay. And but I also pick up, you know, energy through just my engagement with people. And I feel like, I feel in one way I was meant to, yes, just be an artist, be a performing artist, and study the opera and perform on stage, and produce music and whatnot, and my artwork, my drawings, um, all that. Like that's definitely a calling and a part of my purpose here. But in the past decade, over a decade now of my life, I really have just thrived off of being around other human beings. And it's activated, I guess, such, I guess, compassion. for others in such a way. Even people that I would never call a friend, even people that I tolerate, I do my best to come from a place of non-judgment. You remember when I made a video about, discussing your public life, personal life, private life, secret life, right? There are so many layers to a being having a human experience. Who am I to judge? Given how I just told you how, in tune I am with energy and reading energy, and how empathic I am and sensitive to energies around me, there's a reason why I don't, do mediumship and make, tarot readings and do energy readings on people. I don't necessarily need to. It's not a necessity for me. I find anyway in my life. My very presence, I think, is enough to uplift and to shift people. You don't necessarily need to call yourself a guru or a healer to do that. You know? You don't need to wave around sticks and, drum, burn sage to be able to uplift the spirit of another person who may be troubled. But I find that beings having a human experience, we are walking, talking multiverses. We're interdimensional beings. You shouldn't ever know every facet of another human being. You can be married to somebody for 20, 30 years and not know who they are, or they become a stranger to you. I believe that there's power in mystery. Recently, a colleague at my job, another meeting, in my jobs, in my jobs, you wear many, many, many hats, right? In education, you just do. Yes, we have, the counselor, we have the social worker, we have the administrator, we have the principal, we have the teacher, we have all kinds of different teachers, we have the therapist come through, we have the psychologist, like there's a whole team and network of people to help get these beautiful children through this crazy ass world, okay? Get them through a very broken system and on into the wild world of society. But where I was going to go with that? Ah, yes. Non-judgment. When I'm working with, colleagues or I'll say personalities all throughout my life, not just my current job. When I'm working with difficult or challenging personalities, I will say this. I detach in a way that I think sometimes can irk people or make them feel uncomfortable or make them assume that I'm not approachable. Oh yes, I know. I was gonna say a colleague was saying that I was very difficult to read, and what I find very interesting about that is like I'm pretty sincere and genuine with my word. I'm like sarcastic when I want to be funny, but or hide my frustration, but I would consider myself a genuine person when I'm speaking my inner truths or speaking from a space of my truth, or when I'm passionate about something. I'm very genuine and sincere. I have heard of the whole, ooh, you're mysterious, or so the whole like you're a very difficult person to read. That was an interesting comment. It had me thinking, I'm like, what does that mean? You know, because when people meet other people, they kind of want they want to categorize you. They want to, number one, feel safe around you. Make sure that you're not a threat to them in any way. Make sure you're not going to ruffle too many feathers. They want to see, okay, she's like this, so we can put her over here. He's like that, so we can put him over here. And I guess I'm just not a person that's very easy to, I'm a chameleon, I guess. I have my personal private life, secret life, but then I have my public life, personal life, right? I don't know. I never really thought I was um, fake or anything. I'm not, but I'm have a very complex brain and a very complex outlook on things. I don't deem an individual evil or bad because there's multiple different. That's where non-judgment comes through. The power, the magic of non-judgment is that you allow possibility. You open yourself up to all that is possible when you don't attach yourself to a narrative or a storyline to lock somebody in. Um, when I think of a difficult personality in my life or that I've experienced or, in my life, what makes it um, tolerable is I just don't pigeonhole that person into a story. Oh, they're this way because they come from that, and I have no freaking clue. As psychic and open and energetic frequency vibrational person that I am, I really believe in allowing presence be here now, right? Ramdas, like presence to show me the truth about that person at that moment and show me what I need to know at that moment. You know what I'm saying? I don't I choose to allow the person to show me who they really are, even if it's a fake version of themselves, even if it's coming from a broken, fragmented, egotistical, malicious space, so be it. I want to allow that person to just be. I'm not going to whine or cry or get upset or tattletale or, like make it. No. Compassion, non-attachment, non-judgment, and that's how I deal with difficult energies in my life. um I don't know, when I hear like, oh, you're difficult to read, or you're so mysterious, you can always come up and talk to me. Like, I don't know, I think that's like, you can always come up and ask me questions if I'm not antisocial. I'm not like a one word type of woman. Obviously I have this platform, so I'm not like, oh, I'm not gonna talk. Oh no. Yeah, do I have issues with anxiety? Yes, on specific things, but when it comes to just being myself, sometimes being yourself makes other people uncomfortable, and that's okay too. You don't have to be apologetic. I catch myself being apologetic sometimes. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not making this easier for you to figure me out, you know? Um, but, like, ask yourself, what do you see when someone's engaging with you? You know? You just study. Study. I love studying people. And yes, sometimes I do act aloof, like I'm not paying attention when I am. I don't know, maybe that's like a survival mechanism or something. I don't know, but people are very fascinating, especially when they're really deep in their ego. Right? And they got to be like, I'm tough, I'm strong, I'm this. And I'm like, bring it. I'm going to grab some popcorn because this is very entertaining. Not in a mean way, just I'm like, wow, this is very fascinating. How many masks do you have? Because I have them. Everyone has their masks. And some people get over-identify, like I mentioned in the previous video, they over-identify with the mask. And when it's time to take off the mask, they can't take it off. Have you ever watched the Twilight Zone? It's called The Masks, and it's about this very wealthy, powerful millionaire, and he's on his deathbed, and his family is very crappy. Okay, they're very, very just horrible, rotten people from the inside out. So before they said, he says before or by midnight, he gives them like each a mask, very ugly, grotesque masks that he orders them to put on in order for them to get their money. And so by midnight, they can take it off. Well, he gives this whole spiel and talk about his true feelings about them. And then come midnight, he did. Okay, he dies at midnight. And then they try to remove the mask. And they can't. The mask becomes it's a symbolic. It's a symbolic of their true nature, their character. Now they're millionaires, but they gotta walk around and hide themselves from society from their grotesque masks that they have to wear. So yeah, I let people wear the mask. I don't like to confront. Why? It's a waste of energy. Oh my God. It's such a waste of energy for me to confront other people. I reserve my energy to win the war, not the battle. Always. And, everyone has their internal jihad. Okay? And I know that might, trigger some Americans. If you're American, you're watching this. Jihad, it means holy war. Okay? In Islam. And it's a spiritual war. It is not the actual, go to war and kill other people because they believe in a different God than you type of war, which, humans get into that type of conflict. It's about the internal war. Save your energy for when you really, 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 really need it. And offer compassion by just letting other people talk. If you find yourself in a room where people know more than you and they're experts at something, let them talk. Even if you don't agree with them, let them cook. Okay? Let them cook. Let them go. Oh, I wonder if this hair's dry yet. Ugh. Okay. I think that's it. Just more food for thought. And again, how I like to look at it is when I see older adults and they're angry, they're deep, they're having an emotional moment, okay? Whatever, if that's sadness, frustration, anxiety, anger, rage, jealousy, just anything, I look for the inner child. And that's what sparks my compassion for them. That's what, how I don't get lost in arguments or trying to spend so much of my mental and emotional energy trying to, figure them out. I'm done figuring people out. I like to just allow the person to open. I choose to open myself to the moment and to the presence that we all have access to. And that reveals so much to me. May this message find you well and whole. Have a good day.